It is 6:41 in Surfside, Florida at this hour, and crews have recovered a 12th body in that condo collapse. 149 people are still unaccounted for, and officials fear bad weather could complicate the ongoing search, entering its 7th day. Charles Watson joins us live from Surfside with more. Charles?
Good morning, Steve. These first responders have so much they have to worry about. One big concern this morning is the structural stability of what's left of Champlain Tower South here behind me in the distance. Miami-Dade officials say crews are no longer entering into that portion of the building because of the hazardous conditions it currently poses to hundreds of rescue crew workers on site.
We have the structural engineers on site. They're monitoring extremely closely everything that's happening there, because obviously we cannot put our first responders in danger. At this time, it's not considered that the building is at risk of collapse, but it is unstable.
Now, two potential tropical systems brewing in the Atlantic are also threatening to complicate search and rescue efforts. The Florida Division of Emergency Management says it is requesting an additional urban search and rescue team from the federal government, as resources may need to be split between the collapse site in parts of Florida that could fall in the path of those potential tropical systems. In the meantime, rescue crews continue their search for the 149 victims who are still unaccounted for. This as questions grow about the condition of the building leading up to the partial collapse. Photos obtained by the Miami Herald appear to show standing water, cracked concrete, and corroded rebar in the parking garage below Champlain Tower South. A spokesperson for the Champlain South Condo Association tells Fox News in part, quote, "At no time were they told of imminent threat of danger or collapse." And guys, President Biden is expected to come here to Surfside tomorrow to meet with first responders and families. Back to you, Steve.
He is indeed. All right, Charles, thank you very much. Let's also, since you're down in Florida, let's bring in Florida Congressman. He's a Republican, Byron Donalds. Congressman, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You know, it's just a desperate search. We're coming up on our 7th day, and there are still so many questions, and we just don't have any good answers yet.
No, and it's going to take time. I mean, look, obviously you have the engineering report that was done on this building. They were already going to start this work in short order later this year, and this tragedy has struck everybody in Florida and frankly around the world. There are crews in my district that have gone over to help with the search and to clear the debris, but it's a very tough situation. I know that family members want answers as quickly as they can. The one thing that we have to stress is calm and patience, because it takes time to dig through this rubble, and we just need everybody to continue sending help and prayers.
Well, Congressman, on the same day they were digging for bodies there in Surfside, and Joe Biden was in La Crosse, Wisconsin, talking about infrastructure. His Secretary of Energy was on CNN, and she is starting to connect some dots. Listen to this.
We do know that the seas are rising. I mean, we know that we're losing inches and inches of beaches, not just in Florida, but all around. This is a phenomenon that will continue. Whether we'll have to wait to see what the analysis is for this building, but the issue about resiliency and making sure we adapt to this changing climate, that's going to mean levees need to be built. That means seawalls need to be built. That means infrastructure needs to be built.
So in that soundbite, she's talking about climate change and infrastructure, and this at a time when they are still pulling bodies out of that building. I don't know that now's the time to get political like that.
You're absolutely correct. This is not the time for hot takes or to say something glib so you can get TV time. Let's actually get through the tragedy that currently exists. Let family members be able to bury their loved ones or actually reconnect with their loved ones if they're still alive in that pile. To come out and to play your politics and to talk about climate change and sea level rise, it's not the time for that. She should be ashamed of herself. And frankly, anybody that sits there and nodding their head should be ashamed as well. Let's actually deal with the tragedy in front of us. Leave the politics for another day. We can come back to that later. It's not going anywhere.
Speaking of politics, now the White House is saying that it was Republicans who are defunding the police because they didn't vote for the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. Do you buy that flipping the script business?
Oh, absolutely not. Hell no, because they're the ones that did it. They're the ones that have been pushing this for more than a year and at some time. It's their members of Congress on the Democrat side of the aisle who are constantly calling, advocating, and pushing for defunding the police. When this was going on through the presidential election last year, Joe Biden didn't say a word. He did not exhibit leadership. He didn't tell the radical fringe in his party. So, no, it's on them. It is not on us. It's that simple.
It is that simple. Heard that from a number of Republicans. Congressman Byron Donalds, we thank you very much for joining us today from D.C.